Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about data, then data mining, then its applicability in social networks. That means how do we use data mining in social networks. So let's proceed. So these are the general contents that we'll be discussing about data, knowledge, information. Then we'll discuss about data mining, then social network and social network analysis, then data mining in social networks, that is of two categories, graph mining and text mining. Then accessing data from Facebook we will discuss about. Then we will discuss about applications of social network analysis, and then limitations of social network analysis. So let's proceed. So as you know, with the previous figures or the your previous knowledge that you have, that data is the collection of raw facts and figures, that is all the alphabets, all the numerics, and all the punctuation marks, that is the special symbols, all comprise of the data. That means this combination of letters, numerics, and symbols make up the data, which doesn't make any sense. That is in raw form. For example, the quantities, characters, symbols on which operations are performed by a computer. These are termed as data. Then comes information. When we process that data for a particular purpose which makes sense in the one way or the other, then that is termed as information. So the patterns, associations, relationships among all these data can provide information. For example, analysis of sales transaction data can give information about which product are selling when. That means it is that kind of data which tells about something, which tells about some particular event or happening. Then comes knowledge. Knowledge is the extended version of information. When information converted into a particular historical patterns and future trends. That means which tells about the historical events that have occurred or the future trends that may arise on the basis of the present scenario. So that is termed as the knowledge. Then comes data mining. Actually, the data mining is useful for unknown information. That means it is used to find the useful and unknown information from the large set of data available as a whole. So the overall role of data mining is to extract information from the data set and transform that information into a more meaningful manner, in a more understandable way, to be used by other applications, other processes, other environments in the near future, you can say. So the process of collecting, searching through, and analysis of a large amount of data in a database adds to discover patterns and relationships. डेटा जो अवेलेबल है हमारे डेटाबेस के अंदर, ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग डेटा है, उस डेटा को एनालाइज करके उसके अंदर पैटर्न्स को फाइंड आउट करना, और उन पैटर्न्स को फाइंड आउट करके उनको टू बी यूज्ड इन द नियर फ्यूचर फॉर सम बेटर एप्लीकेशंस that may lead to some technological revolution in the near future, and the relationships to be established among the data. If we can relate the data with one another, we can exhaust some new findings from the existing data for the betterment of the coming time. So let's discuss about social network, as we have also discussed social network in a different video, social network and their types. So let's have a brief overview here. It is a network which is social in structure between actors, most individuals or organizations. That means between the individual users that are working or the organizations that may opt social networks for their marketing or advertising purpose. So it indicates the way in which they are connected through various social familiarities ranging from casual acquaintances to close familiar bonds. That means it is that kind of platform where you can share your information related to your personal aspects or the social information in a particular situation where you reside. So this is about social network. So now we are discussing about social network analysis. Analysis is a very important aspect if we are talking about the web resources, uh, as analysis defines the patterns from the existing data, and by using those patterns we can formulate new technological revolutions, new inventions, new ways and tools and techniques for doing the works with in the near future with ease and effectiveness. So the basic focus of analysis is on the structure of relationship among a set of actors. That means in the existing data set there are different objects available in the data, and to establish a relationship, bonding between the objects existing in the data, that is what we actually called is analysis. So these are various social media platforms that are existing in today's, that is blogs, microblogs, community based question answers, email and chats, hybrid applications, wikipedias, social news, social bookmarkings, media sharing, opinion views and ratings. These are the various kind of media platforms where the users interact and share their views about a particular product or the information or data that is existing. So now we are discussing about data mining techniques that we use in our social media platform. So there are basically two techniques that we use. One is the graph mining and the other one is the text mining. So what is graph mining? The graph mining constitute a prominent data structure and appear essentially in all form of information. It is the most prominent data structure that is available in all of the information that is existing in your database. In the, if you talk about examples, then web graph in social networks. Typically, communities correspond to group of nodes where nodes within the same community tend to be highly similar, sharing common features. That means we are discussing about objects that are related to one another through the most common features, which on the other hand, nodes of different communities show low similarities. And if you talk about the different communities, then obviously the similarities between the two objects or the nodes will be less. So for that, extracting useful knowledge from the structure of data that can be represented as a graph is the technique of graph mining. That means to graphically represent, for visualization we use graph mining. That means whatever information is available in your database, that information we can represent through graphical modules, and for that we have to extract the information and formulate the patterns from that data. What we call is graph mining. So the graph mining is used for understanding relationships as well as content. So दो चीजें आइडेंटिफाई होती हैं ग्राफ माइनिंग के थ्रू. One is the relationship and another one is the content. Phone providers can look at phone call records using graph mining. If we talk about phone providers, so they can look at all the call records using the graph mining. That means they analyze the data that is going over on the network through the various calls made by the users, and then prepare a graph of the whole uh, situation or the environment, and then they can analyze the all of the call records that are existing over the particular network, phone network. An example of graph mining in Facebook is query example, restaurants in Pune liked by. So this is about that means to find out such kind of information which tells about the interest of a particular group of people in a particular area. That this is the particular, suppose a restaurant that is liked by most of the people, suppose your friends. So through graph mining we can find out, analyze that information, and can be provided to the particular user that your friends are like this liking such kind of things in that particular environment or area, and so that you can get to know about that kind of things. So graph definition, this is the graph definition from the basic computer terminology that we use, where a graph is a combination of vectors and edges and their weights. So V is the set of vertices, that means the nodes, and E is the edges that are the directed lines that are connecting to one another nodes, and their weights are denoted through the small e1, e2, e3, and so on. Whatever the weight matrix is there for between the two existing nodes. So V is the finite set of nodes. E is the subset of V cross V, that is denotes a set of edges. Mu is the denotes a node labeling function. That means a node having a particular function defined on that. Then VE tends to LE denotes the edge labeling function. That means mu is the node labeling function and V is the edge labeling function. So this is a network diagram about the graph mining, in which first of all each individual or team is shown as a circular node on the diagram. That means the circular nodes are defined as the individual objects or entities that are working in the particular scenario. Then second one is the lines that are connecting these nodes. These are the lines linking each node, denotes the relationship and interaction between them. That means what kind of relationship is existing between the two nodes, that is defined through the edges. Then for example in node 13 represents the web page, and node 14 represents the target audience for the web page. As you can see, it is a kind of scenario in the client server architecture, where 14 node acts as a client and 13 acts as a server. So the 13 represents a web resource that can be accessed by node 14. Then the nodes may have additional connections outside of the task network identified. That means whatever the specific task designated for a particular node, besides that task, other formulated connections may be there for a particular node in the diagram. So the nodes with more links show who is well connected in the network. That means the object who is connected to more multiple, or you can say in the, if you talk about the quantity, if more number of nodes are connected to a particular node, then that node is termed as the well connected node. So there are two clicks in the network where all nodes are connected to each other, that is 7, 9, 10, and 10, 12, 13. These are the particular nodes which are connected to one another, and formulating a triangular relationship between the nodes. This is a priori based approach that is shown about the relationship between the different nodes that are connected to each other to formulate a particular kind of relationship in the diagram. Then comes pattern based approach. In this, a graph G is extended by adding new edge E. That means pattern based approach defines that to find out the patterns from the existing data and to formulate it for new connections or new formations of the information in the particular graph or approach. So a graph G is extended by adding new edge E. Edge E may or may not introduce a new node to G. Now a ग्राफ है जी that is extended with a new edge E. अब वो E edge जो है that may introduce or may not introduce a new node to the graph G. That means if an edge is extended, so it can add a new node or may not. That depends upon the particular kind of information that we have extended or the pattern that we are using. So in the graph it is shown first one is the k edge, then k plus 1 edge, then k plus 2 edge. This is the level of edges that are shown in the particular graph. That means as the level grows, the number of edges and the number of nodes in the particular graph increases. If we talk about an example of graph mining from Facebook, then you can see some sample query for graph search. Sample query for graph search. For examples, if you want to search for particular friends in a particular community, then the search results are displayed on the basis of the uh, existing information and the keywords that are used in the search term. That means each keyword in the search term is matched to the existing database, and on the basis of that the results are formulated, and the search results are displayed in the search interface. Then next comes text mining. It is an emerging technology that attempts to extract meaningful information from the unstructured textual data. That means a whole of the data is available in the database, and from that whole some database we have to find out, or we have to extract only the meaningful information, only the useful information that is of use to a particular user or the situation. So for that we are using text mining. So basically it is the extension of data mining to textual data. That means data mining deals with the all kinds of data, and when we talk about text mining, it is specifically deals with the textual data in the social networks. As the social network contains a lot of data in the nodes of various forms. For example, a social network may contain blogs, articles, messages, the chats, videos, and other different categories of data. So what is the text mining process? So basically in text mining process we follow three basic steps. The first one is to is the text pre-processing, and then text processing or analysis, and then final one is the actionable intelligence, that is the extracted meaningful information. So First, we do in text mining data collection. That is, the data collector module continuously downloads data from one or more platforms and stores raw data into database. Its basic purpose of data collection is to collect data from all around the environment and store it in a centralized database to be used by the other modules in the process. Then comes data modeling. The data modeling, it is the process that is used to identify the data requirements and needs for a particular application process within the social network, and for that data modeling is done. Then different mining methods are there. First one is the clustering analysis. It is the automatic or semi-automatic analysis of large quantity of data to extract previously unknown interesting patterns such as groups of data records, known as cluster analysis. That means in this kind of analysis, it is a kind of automatic analysis tool where large quantity of data is analyzed और उसको एक पर्टिकुलर इंटरेस्ट के बेसिस के ऊपर, एक पर्टिकुलर इंटरेस्ट पैटर्न के बेसिस पे क्या करते हैं, डेटा को ग्रुप करते हैं एक पर्टिकुलर क्लस्टर के अंदर. Second one is the anomaly detection. It is anomaly is this some kind of disrupting information, that means which diverts from the particular formulation of a path. So it is the search for items which do not conform to an expected patterns, means whatever the expected data is required by a particular process, if that data is not available, so we have to identify those data which are not directly related to the needs or the requirements. Then access data from Facebook. How do we access the data from Facebook? So the Facebook platform provides APIs, SDKs for developing applications which access the Facebook data. That means specific application program interfaces are designed to access the Facebook's data. The Facebook SDK provides a fast native Facebook integration using the exact same implementation regardless of which environment you are deployed to. That means regardless of the environment, it implements the same exact same implementation of Facebook. In mobile, Facebook provides SDK for iOS platform and Android platform. As you all very well aware about the iOS platform that is developed by Apple Corporation, and Android platform developed by Google for most of the mobile phone devices. So for web development, SDK are provided by both the Facebook and the development community such as PHP, JavaScript, Ruby, Node.js, etc. Then Facebook API. It is first one is the search API. The Graph API is a simple HTTP based API that gives access to the Facebook social graph, uniformly represented objects in graph and connection between them. That means such API identifies the data of the Facebook's social graph, then uniformly represented objects and the connection between the objects. Another one is FQL. FQL is Facebook query language, which enables you to use a SQL type interface to query the data exposed by the Graph API. That means whatever data is exposed by Graph API, that data can be processed, can be used, can be accessed through the Facebook query language. Just like we use SQL language, structured query language, in the same manner, Facebook uses Facebook query language, FQL. Then dialogues. Facebook offers a number of dialogues to Facebook platforms such as login, posting a person's timeline, or sending requests. These are the different kind of dialogues that are used to access various kind of information in the available scenario. Then chats. One can integrate a Facebook chat into a web-based desktop or mobile instant messaging products through which two users or more than two users are interacting with each other through textual messages. Ads API allows you to build your own apps as a customized alternative to Facebook ads. That means you can build your own application programs in place of the Facebook ads. So if you are placing the ads on the Facebook social network, beside that you can develop your own APIs on your own application programs through which you can advertise or market your products. Public feed APIs. This lets you read a stream of public comments that have been posted. That means the comments on a particular information or the post or the data that are existing on the social network are accessed through the public feed APIs. And the applications of social network analysis. So if we talk about the social network analysis, if it is better understood, so the better relationships and knowledge flows can be measured, monitored and evaluated. For what? To enhance organizational performance. That means the performance of the organization can be increased if we are well aware about the information and data and how the data is related to one another in that particular environment. So to identify individuals, teams and units who play central roles, di- discern information breakdowns, bottlenecks, structured holes, isolated individuals, teams and units. Make out opportunities to accelerate knowledge flows across the organizational boundaries. These are the various applications of analysis. Another ones are strengthen the efficiency and effectiveness of existing formal communication channels. Communication channels की efficiency को बढ़ा सकते हैं. Leverage peer support. Peer support can be increased through the analysis. Improve innovation and learning. New innovations can be made by the analysis of existing data, and learning can happen through the existing mode of data that is available in your database. Refine strategies. The strategies that you follow to perform a particular task or operation in the particular environment, that can be enhanced, can be refined. Limitations of social network analysis. Connections may not be depict correct hierarchy. Sometimes connections, that means the connectivity of different objects in the social networks does not depict correct hierarchy. Hierarchy means the levels of the connectivity between the objects. Also, the analysis does not show the effectiveness or quality of the relationship between the people. It deals with the quantitative analysis, but quality is not depicted by SNAs. Some connections may be more productive than others, but sometimes such connections are not considered by the social network analysis. Also, SNA does not show breakdowns in communication or barriers. In many cases, the graphs are large scale, hence difficult to understand and develop. So let's conclude the session with few things. Like, if you talk about social media, it is very big in size, it is very rich in the content or information, and it provides the open data that is existing or that is available to all who are connected to each other. And there are billions of users or the social media. There are billions of contents available on the social medias. Textual multimedia is available on the social media. Billions of connections that are existing between the different users is there. Some challenges are large scale network. As the network grows up more and more, so we have to cope up with the increasing uh, connectivity of the different users over the network. So we have to accommodate the whole as the network grows up. Also the noise, that means as the population or the number of users increase, the cumbersome things also increase along with that. So we have to tackle with that kind of situations in the social networks. So This is all about the data mining in social networks. If you find any difficulty, you can contact me anytime. Till then, thank you very much.